Hey, Rob, how are you, sir?
Hey, Dean, welcome to another episode of One Drink With.
Rob, if we could really quick go through our schedule that's coming up here. Cocktail Network Live is starting to get a lot of different events going on. Rob and I have been working behind the scenes trying to figure out technology so that we can actually broadcast live bartending competitions and show off the great bartenders and the great talent that are out there. And we've got all kinds of cool things going on. So I wanted to share a few of them. Rob, next week... Let's see here. Next week we have.
We got something tomorrow, Dean.
Yeah, tomorrow. I'm trying to find the shot of it right now. Oh, there it is. Boom. Tomorrow we have the Show Your Colors contest. That is with RNDC and Real cocktail ingredients. We did an online Instagram contest, and any bartender from five different states could put out a cocktail. Most views got a chance to be on the show, and we have Connecticut, Delaware, Illinois, Florida, and Nevada. All these bartenders will be joining us tomorrow for a live feed with Rob and myself. And we're going to go through their cocktails and show what was on their Instagram feeds. Pretty fun stuff. All right. Rob, can you tell us about the King of the Mountain? Let's see if I can put you up on this screen here. Boom, there's Rob. There we go.
And then 3 weeks from that, Monday, May 9th, in Denver, Colorado, Mike Guzman and Brad Kaplan are bringing back for the 10-year anniversary the King of the Ring competition. From before, it was balls out, flares out, fun out competition. And this time they refined it, brought it back into today's time, and made it a great bartender competition. So the bartenders are being judged on flair. The bartenders are being judged on accuracy. The bartenders are being judged on their cocktail and bartending skills as well. Really looking forward to it. And Dean and I jumping on a plane and broadcasting live from Denver, Colorado, Monday, May 9th on Cocktail Network Live.
It's going to be pretty fantastic. So Rob and I will both be out there for that. We've got a speed comp coming up. Cocktail Network Live may not be broadcasting this at this time. We don't know for sure, but there is a speed comp in Nashville coming up on May 17th. So I just wanted to let you guys know about that. Rob, what can you tell us about the cocktail event or the flair event you have going on in Florida?
Ooh, the Cocktail Art Challenge. We are bringing it back. I think it's number 4 now. It's going to be June 5th and 6th. That's Sunday and Monday. Those of you know, it's a tough competition judged on really 50% flair, 50% your cocktail. How entertaining are you on stage? How well is your cocktail made? From your bartending skills to aroma to balance to flair to smoothness to originality to being clean behind the bar. It's also going to be the USBG IBA World Cocktail Championship qualifier. There's your inside scoop right there.
Wow.
Where first place is going to win a trip to represent the United States in flair to the IBA World Cocktail Championship. I believe that one is in Venezuela this year. And then second place is going to win a trip to the IBA Pan American Games in Cuba later this year. Wow. So with this competition, because we kind of want to set you up for success for the IBA finals, we're actually going to be judging IBA technique a little bit harder on this one, where in years past it was more about bartending skills. Now we're really digging deep into IBA technical bartending skills.
Wow.
And looking like the Papa Doble, the master himself, Julio Cabrera, is going to come teach a seminar on IBA techniques before the competition. So hopefully to give you some pointers, refine your skills, as well as be that judging of the IBA techniques that he does so well.
Wow.
I've learned so much from him, and I'm just happy he's going to be willing to share his time and his knowledge on IBA techniques to set up Team USA to hopefully win another medal, as Colby Ashton did last year at the WCC.
Go Colby. Go Colby. That's fantastic. Let's see if we can get that seminar broadcast here on Cocktail Network Live. Wouldn't that be cool? Just huge opportunities out there for all bartenders that want to step this thing up a little bit, whether it's flair or cocktails. There's just so many opportunities for everyone out there to start taking this thing a bit more seriously, or, I mean, there's plenty of us that are taking it super seriously, if not to it at times. All right, I have a very big announcement coming up. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but here is a little teaser for you. Seize Your Day National Day Archives. We are in this National Day Archives. You got to stick around to the end of the show. Rob and I are going to tell you all about that at the very end of the show. All right. Rob, can you bring us up to date on, or let's talk about Shaken and Stirred with your next competition. Yeah, Shaken and Stirred, the movie, shooting over the summertime and coming to a improv near you in September.
Shaken and Stirred, the movie. Dean's done some great job of already reaching out to some past personalities and starting to get the story and the timeline, so we know where obviously flair was created with Jerry the Professor Thomas, but more importantly how it became popular again in the 80s and 90s. And one big reason why we're talking to John JB Bandy today, and then taking it further with you're doing a great job of just starting that emphasis again and building it up. So you're working on that whole timeline. Deborah Richards and Patrick and I are working on the competitors that we're going to actually follow to bring all that past bartending and that through line of it being to where is flair bartending today, the resurgence, and it all culminating to the finals of the Flair Bartenders Shakedown, again in West Palm Beach, Florida, September 18th to the 20th. It's a 3-day event. It's packed full of seminars, spirited dinners, qualifying rounds, flair rounds, accuracy. There's more to come on that. We're just talking about it now, but we got to get through the cocktail challenge first, and then once we get through that, then we'll open up registration for the Flair Bartender Shakedown. But we'll be filming live there as the final for the movie. All bring in there. So if you want to get a chance to hopefully be in the documentary, one easy way is to buy a ticket and be in the audience, or a better way is to enter and compete on stage and be featured in the ending, hopefully.
Yeah. If you're on that stage at the end of the year or in September, there's a good chance you'll make the final cut of the video or the movie in one way or another. But there's also so many talking heads. We've got 20 or 30 different people and bartenders that we're going to be talking to, past, present, and future, because we're going to be talking about the past and the rise of flair bartending, those magical years in the early 2000s, and then the fall, why the whole thing fell apart, and how it's going to grow back. Rob and I have talked about this every time we've been together for a decade now, that flair is coming back, and right now it is really growing in full swing. If you couldn't tell by the list of competitions that we just told you about, we're also working on a 2023 tour, but I won't give anything else away on that at this point. Ooh, a little teaser. All right. All right. Are you guys ready to get to the business today?
The man of the hour. I think it's time to bring...
Hey, I also wanted people to know that they are in the comments. All right. We have a whole bunch of people in the comments right now. There's Dwayne Sawyer saying, hey, what's up, man? All right. GNR Entertainment says there's a bartender shakedown coming. Hey, GNR, reach out. Let's do this thing. Let's get it on. All right. Yeah, we've got a few people in the comments. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching live on Facebook, join us in the comments. I can see your comments, and if they're cool, I'll bring them on the screen. All right? You can actually ask questions of our fabulous guest coming up here. Just put a Q in front of your comment and drop a comment. All right, this is the second time this guy's put something up there. Rob Carujo!
Oh, yeah!
Yeah, classic old school Rob Carujo. We love you, man. Or as I like to know you, Rob Orujak. That's an inside joke between us.
My first ever flair competition from show tenders back in the day. Rob Carujo, man, that guy is a class act.
He's awesome. He's so much fun. I saw him in Vegas. Anyway, enough of that. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a super special guest with us today, all the way from California. I'm going to jump right into One Drink with John Bandy. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. John Bandy. There is Rob, and there is Mr. Bandy himself. Ladies and
Hey!
gentlemen, I got you now. How are you, sir?
I'm well. How about you guys?
Very good, very good. You look great. What a beautiful location out there in California.
Well, it's a nice day. Yeah. Love the backyard. I love the backyard. So, yeah, I'm enjoying it. I have to say something because I was just watching those clips, and it brings so many memories back. But the scene where Tom Cruise says he's getting fuck me eyes from the husband that comes up is actually my brother.
No
'Cause I'm
way!
from Detroit.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Detroit. And we were filming it in Toronto, and I said, "Hey, come on over. This is nothing you've ever been involved with, so come on over." And I was actually able to get him in. So when the husband comes up, he actually kind of looks like Bruce Jenner back in the day,
Right?
but that's my brother. That's my brother. So yeah, FYI. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. That's fantastic. Great. So if anybody doesn't know already, John Bandy, of course, the bartender consultant, flair consultant, bartender from the movie Cocktail, which I have to admit is the reason I bartend still today. So thank you, John. And I know there's thousands of, or if not millions of bartenders out there that can claim the same thing.
Good for you. Yeah, a lot of fun. It's been a good experience. I had a lot of fun doing it.
Right.
It was funny. One of my favorite scenes in there, which you played, is when he was so upset that he didn't know what a Cuba Libre is, and like, why did you tell me it was a rum and coke? And from that day, I'll always remember how to make that cocktail. And more importantly, that is the cocktail that I'm drinking today, Dean.
Hey,
I went with
the Cuba Libre.
Cuba Libre. So I'm using 1 ounce of my favorite rum, Plantation Pineapple rum,
All right.
and I split base with 1 ounce of a local Black Coral Black
Hold it
rum.
right up in your face. I can't see it. All right.
There we go. And then with 4 ounces of Coca-Cola and a squeeze of lime, and he's delicious.
Nice. John, what are you drinking today?
We're doing a margarita. I'm skipping on the limes today, being I have none. So, yeah, just a little on the lighter side,
All right. I felt a little saucy today, so I brought in the turquoise blue.
God love you.
And then you saw my shirt, Dean, and John, but it says
Cocktails and Dreams.
Dreams.
Nice. That's awesome. Hey, John, before we get to talking about Cocktail and working with Tom Cruise and all those other famous people and that awesome experience, this documentary we're working on, Shaken and Stirred, is telling the history of flair bartending. And I've been talking to some bartenders that used to work at T.G.I.Fridays back in the 80s. And I have a couple of guys that I've been talking to. I'll keep the names to myself. One of them claims to be the very first bartender or flair bartender on the planet. And another I talked to said that he started flipping glassware in 1983 behind the bar. How did flair start for you at Fridays?
How it started for me, totally out of boredom, flat out of boredom. I did start in Houston, Fridays back in the day, around the 80s, the earlier 80s, and then went to San Diego and then came out to L.A. and I was a new guy on the list, and the people I was working with, well, they were all actors or wanted to be actors, and it's like so I was getting all the the dirty shifts and the dirty work, if you will. And I says, what, screw this. I'll just make work fun for myself. So I started practicing with the tins and the bottles at home. I'd stand on the couch, the bed, so if I dropped something, it would bounce. And I started taking the work, and being a visual, it just kind of started bringing people in, and I was having fun for myself. Else, and it literally caught people's eye, and flat out, purely out of boredom. I got tired of saying, "Hello, how are you? What would you like?" It gets old after a while. So I started, ice cube and the shaker, straw, and napkin, And as far as like the juggling thing, I've been all over the world, 30 different countries, lasted like, good 8 years. They always called me the juggling bartender. Well, literally, I've never juggled three things in my life. It just looked like it, So, yeah. But as far as, somebody training me
Right.
for the flair thing, no, did not happen. And yeah, I'm
So what
surprised you
did
brought that up.
so, so tell me, what inspired you to start flipping bottles, or did it start with glassware? What was it, and can you put a date on or a year on when the very first bottle was flipped into a pour?
Huh. Date year, I don't know. Early '80s pretty much when I started bartending. Yeah, it was Houston and then San Diego, then out here. Probably, yeah, early '80s. That's what I say. But yeah, it just pretty much started with the shaker because it doesn't break,
Yeah.
and
Right.
ice tubes and the straws and whatnot. And but amazingly enough, traveling as much as I did and doing a lot of seminars and whatnot with other bartenders, the silliest, stupid things people really took into liking to is the little napkin trick. Everybody in front of you have the ice bin. The ice bin, the walls all have condensation on it. So I take the two fingers and wipe my hand on the side of the condensation. I can pinch the side of the napkin and just toss them out. One, two, three, four, and fairly accurate.
Wow.
And the guys really took more of a liking to that than the bottle flipping and all that. But I don't know. It's just it was quick and efficient. I didn't put my napkins on the bar and twist them all out and all that kind of stuff. And
You just
yeah,
threw
it
them at
was
people.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, playing them out like cards. Yeah.
So the bartender or the U.S. hosted the Olympics in L.A. in 1986, right?
Correct. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
And from my understanding is that the Fridays, local Fridays to LA, decided that they were going to do a bartending competition called the Bartender Olympics, and
Correct.
that's how the whole flair bartender thing started for you guys back in the day.
Right.
Can you
Yeah.
elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah. No, yeah. That was the very first bartender Olympics. It was held in Woodland Hills, California. A lot of guys came over. Obviously, one or two of you guys that from Florida had a
Right.
big mustache. Come over. And I ended up winning it. There's definitely a lot of different personalities of bartenders. Some guys are recipe knowledge, some guys are speed and efficiency. Some guys sing, some guys, just kiss women all day. Some guys blow eggs out of the shot glasses and stuff. There's all kinds of different personalities. I'm very visual, and yeah, they ended up flying a lot of us out to Fridays and showing our worth, and it kind of spread from there.
Very cool. Very
That first
cool.
competition, was it just judged on flair, or do they have like recipe knowledge? Do they have speed rounds, accuracy? How do they judge you guys?
It was actually both. Yeah, there was two rounds. One was speed and recipe knowledge. Had the right glass, right texture, right taste. Not too little, not too much. And the other one was basically showing your personality, whether that would be singing or doing little bar tricks or visual flipping the bottles. And yeah, there was two rounds. You had to win both rounds in order to win that competition. And then there was four. You had to go win four contests to win the grand prize, which was a jacket, a VCR, a trip to Cancun, and a trip to England. So that I ended up winning the whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah, remember the VCR?
Yeah.
That was a big deal back then.
We've seen this here, but this VHS tape has a really familiar guy on it here, Mr.
There you
Olympic
go.
Bartending. Still in its plastic wrapping. I bought 2 copies. Waiting for you to find this again one day.
Still in the wrapper. Oh my God. Well, maybe one day.
We'll get you to sign that. That Olympic bartending video showed a competition behind the bar. Was that the actual Fridays competition?
The one on the tape?
Yeah, on your
Yeah.
Olympic bartender video. Was that the
No,
no?
no,
So,
no. We made no. Actually, the head bartender at the time, Don Foley, who's the head bartender. He him and I produced that. No, we went somewhere. I forget the name of the bar. Somewhere it was down by the beach, and put that together. And no, it had nothing to do with that actual competition. That actual competition was videotaped, and that's how I ended up getting the movie Cocktail. But that's another story for another question. But
yeah. So John Mezcal was in that video, right? Uh, and so he was another California boy.
yeah, he was very good. Did a little blindfold, then headband with the knife thing. It was quite funny. Yeah, a good guy. Good guy. It was fun.
Yeah. I love you putting your goggles on to practice flare by the pool, so you didn't get any broken shards of glass in your eyes.
Right.
That's
Yeah, we tried. Yeah, it was fun. With LA, you gotta have the videotape right there when they're coming out of the movie and stuff. Yeah, they did good with that movie. I think they made 77 million coming out when that movie came out, because it was his first movie after Top Gun. So Tom Cruise was really hot property.
right.
So, and 77 million back then was a good amount of digs at that time.
So
yeah,
how did you go from Friday's bartender to this consultant to the stars? How did that all play out?
So given that I had won that contest, won the first Friday's bartending Olympic contest, and that was on a videotape. About 2 weeks later, two young girls came in, and I mean, a little young enough. I checked their ID, and now it's a busy Friday night. Busy Friday night, Woodland Hills Fridays, and they said, I want something to drink. I don't know what I want. I want something fruity and whatnot. I said, I tell you what, I'll make you a drink, and if you don't like it, I'll buy it, which I kind of used to say all the time. And
Right.
usually always. So I made a drink, and it was busy because it's a busy Friday night. And I could have just kind of blown them off. I'll be back with you. Let me know what you want. But I didn't. So she wanted something fruity. So all the stuff went in there, shakers, bottles, whatnot. And I put the drink down. She goes, man, that was really good. She goes, you know what? I work for VIP at Disney, and we're looking all over New York for somebody to train Tom Cruise and Brian Brown. I said, well, of course. I said, I'll do it. And as a matter of fact, I had just won this contest about 2 weeks ago, and it's on the videotape. So we traded numbers, sent somebody out to the house, and picked up the videotape, sent to New York, and I got the gig. Spent a month in New York, a month in Toronto, a month in Jamaica, training Tom Cruise and Brian Brown for all the moves in Cocktail. Not my wildest dreams. Right now I work harder than I ever did. But yeah, about 8 years in 30 different countries, still to this day, what 30, how many years later, and still doing interviews for Cocktail. It's kind of like a Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's just, it's this wonderful cult, following, if you will. I really appreciate the bartender doing nowadays with everything. But
just keeps coming.
That's great. So how was it training Brian Brown and Tom Cruise? Did they catch on quick? Were they receptive? Was one more, apt at it than the other? And then was there any egos? Like it's got to be a little intimidating going into it at first until you break those walls down, I would assume.
Yeah, no, it was quite nice. For one, I mean, Tom Cruise, I mean, he's guy's guy, man. I mean, back in the day, just really nice. We got along. Like I said, guy's guy. And Brian Brown, Austrian. Hey, mate, cheers, mate. Have a beer, mate. And he kind of, because it was my first time doing anything, so he kind of took me under his wing a little bit. And I made sure on set that I had some cold beers from on ice when we got done shooting. He had his cold beers there. But yeah, very nice. We actually, which was really cool, in New York, there was a bar called the Limelight. I don't know if it's still there. I think it was at one point an old church, I think. And it had 4 or 5 different floors to this church, and was renovated into a bar. So we brought me into this thing, and we went to each level and say, which bar, do you want to practice at? So I picked one, and the guys would show up, and we'd practice. We put rubber mats down and whatnot, and just kind of went through the whole thing. And yeah, thankfully they were both very agile, and they had a little bit of a competition of like who would break more stuff by the end of the movie and whatnot. I think Brian Brown won. I think Tom broke a couple. Given that you lose a shaker, it bounces down the bar, hits an ashtray, the ashtray breaks. I mean, there's all these little. But it was a fun little competition. But they were both very agile, and yeah, it was good. It was fun.
And then you were telling us the other day that from the training, how you trained them, they were really catching on and doing really well. To the first time you saw the movie, you were surprised with some things.
Yeah, yeah. Roger Dollison, I believe the director. Matter of fact, Roger Dollison and Robert Cord were producer. When that one little scene that we were watching a little earlier, where they're just obliterating Tom Cruise with, a dirty mother, a white wine, whatever. We got a helicopter coming overhead, sorry. But where they're just obliterated with different drinks. Like I said, one's the producer, one's the director, and whatnot, and just being overwhelmed with that it's quite funny. I forget the train of thought with this question because that helicopter just went by. But
from what you trained them in, what they were doing on set, to when you watched the movie, you said there was maybe some sound effects added and some spills done on purpose.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, so given that, I was right there behind the bar. They had the gate of the bar to go up and down to enter the bar, and I was right underneath there. While they do the one shot, and I'd go replenish the bottles, make sure they're the right levels and whatnot. And they did it so clean, so nice. Sometimes I mean, I stood up and applauded. It was I'm just enthralled by how well they did. And then I come in and watch the movie in the theater, and they show a scene where they flip the bottle, and the liquor comes and sprays across the whole front of the bar. And I brought it to the director's attention, and he says, "Yeah, wasn't that cool? When it came out, all the extras at the bar, they went, whoa." And in my mind, no, that wasn't cool. It's supposed to be clean. No, it's supposed to. There's nothing supposed to come out of the bottle. Oh man, you're killing me here. So Hollywood's going to do what Hollywood does, but in the end of the day, it was a successful movie. But on the other hand, I think you're going to ask me. On the other hand, they did make me look good. So the one scene, the famous scene, they're making a Long Island tea, which they didn't actually do all of my, tricks, if you will. Usually start off with the Long Island tea. The shaker would come up, and I would catch it behind the head, and then go into it. Well, they just kind of threw it from one hand to the other. They compromised in some ways. So anyhow, doing the Long Island tea. When they're finishing the Long Island tea, the routine goes: you have the shaker in your hand, and you throw it toward the ground just to get the rest of the liquor out, and you just do a little flip back, and you catch it and spin it and put it on the counter. Well, Hollywood saw that, and so when you take the shaker, which never leaves your hand, take the shaker and you flip it down just to get the liquid out of the shaker, and it comes back up. Well, when they went down, they noticed that the shakers went below the bar top, and they put the sound ding in there like the shaker hit the floor and came back up. So in that instance, they made me look really good. But to guys with two shakers to make that happen in that sequence, it does not happen. I'd be a god if I could do that. But yeah, so on one hand,
mind-blowing.
yeah.
That was mind-blowing. But then the crazy thing is, bartenders trying to practice that, and eventually starting to bounce bottles off the rubber bar mats, flare goes off the rubber bar mat and tins, where they eventually perfected that trick because of that scene in the movie. I mean, that's just some great insight. So that's just amazing.
You got to hit that square nuts right on the bottom of that can. It's got to be, I mean, it's a very low percentage shot, if you will, I like high percentage shots, but and so in that sense they made it look good. When I saw that, it's like, oh man, that was cool, But yeah, so yeah, give or take, what are you gonna do? Hollywood, you have no control of that, So hope that answered that question.
So you got to hang out in a number of different bars. You said you were in Toronto and New York. Um, what did you take from the bars that you were in, and why did they shoot them in so many different locations?
Yeah, we were in New York, Toronto, and Jamaica. Uh, that's just the way it rolled out, and I had no idea, which was really bizarre, that I was actually working for Fridays, and Fridays was, already, in the movie. They had already built the set on stage, and they built there's a boat in the movie, which is really ironic because uh, when I first got on stage and they had built the entire Fridays on stage, it's like, oh my God, because I'm kind of a handy guy, carpenter, whatnot, all my life. And I'm just enthralled by. I came home and told my wife, I said, my God, I mean, it's spot on. You'd think you're in the Fridays, but it's on stage. They just built this
Wow.
whole thing.
So that
Yeah, I
Fridays at
mean,
the beginning, where with the red striped shirt and you're getting Tom's getting yelled at, that's all a soundstage rebuilt.
yes, yeah, yeah. They took photo. They took the shots of the actual Fridays just from the out, from the street,
Right.
and then I think you're inside it, but it was all on a soundstage. But yeah, it was there was had nothing to do with me working for Fridays. It just happened to be. It just happened to be, which was just very bizarre. So yeah, made it a little more comfortable.
Well, I'm sure it's a lot of life imitating art as well, right? Because there was Fridays was such a big deal back then, and it was the place to be and the place to go. And so many bartenders from Fridays had that kind of fun personality anyway, right? They were encouraged to do that.
Yeah, yeah. They like at that point, early '80s, they allowed and kind of pursued that show your personality, have some fun. Like I was saying, some guys are speed and efficient, and some guys recipe knowledge. Some guys sing and do little bar tricks, card tricks, whatever, blow eggs into shot glasses, or more visual, the flair like I was doing. So, but yeah, it was. Which was nice. It was really nice, and I think they kind of built their business in a big way. Uh, the one that I was working on, that was such a hot Fridays. You know what? It was a shame. It was maybe 2 years now. It just closed down. Just closed down the one I was working at. Uh, I probably should not elaborate, but I was not happy of going back in there after so many years because we used to clean all the antiques and all the stuff that was on the walls. And when I went in there, all that was gone, and it was not the same. Let's put it that way. But yeah, I did. It was a nice experience. I forget again. I forget the question.
The trend of bartending, like you say, you go back in the day, and you guys were cleaning everything, and the pride that people took on the bar was
That's
just so
no,
extreme.
that's it. That's it, Dave. Back then, it was what was amazing about it wasn't a club. It was during the day. Music was low. It was a restaurant, and as the night came, the sun started going down. The music came, kind of turned up. Now you think about it, there's no dancing or anything, so it's basically a sit-down bullshit bar. And it was 4 or 5 deep. The music would kind of go up, and I mean, it was hot. It was live. Plus, what I really enjoyed about it because it was a circle square bar. You had that little peeky boo thing for the patrons that would come in. Everybody trying to date one another or enjoy themselves in a young experience. That made a lot of fun.
And having the
It's funny. I
bar
remember,
raised up in the center and all four sides on it really made more of a community thing, right? More conversation than the traditional, more traditional shotgun bar, don't you think?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, well put. Well put. Yeah, yeah. The shotgun bar. Yeah, goes so far, but yeah, it was a very well whoever set that designed that was very well thought out. Yeah, yeah. That was a hot number. So I still run into people. I used to go back to go there. Those during those years and days. Yeah, it was one of the hot spots. Yeah, it's
I
sad
never
that it's
worked,
close.
but I've heard so many great stories like Philip Duff and Phil Raimondo of the level of training and how if you worked at TGI Fridays because of the amount of training and how well they menu tested you, port tested you, speed, flair, everything. If you worked from TGI Fridays, you could practically get a job working anywhere bartending in America at that time because you were the rock star, you were the professional. So that amount of pride, like Dean's talking about, had to be awesome. And it's for me, it's I feel a little saddened in a way to see and hear where it came from to see where it is now, and I feel like it may have dropped off a bit. What are your thoughts of that? Like maybe going into other Fridays or seeing the level of service now.
Yeah, Rob, the first part of that statement, I couldn't have said any better. It probably would have been verbatim. I mean, back then, the shelf life on pineapple juice, the pina colada mix. I mean, cut the fruit right. It was quite the experience of training. I believe it. I think at the time, I still have some of the old books. I mean, I think there are about 1,000 drinks, dreamsicle, and I can't even remember some of the names, but yeah, the ounces, the recipe, the right glass, right texture, straw, on and on. It was quite a bit of training, and you're right. Back then, if you could just write a card, bartend anywhere. Yeah, you had to. If you worked at Fry's, you had the skills back then. And it's hard, it's kind of sad it's dropped off. Then they start cutting ingredients, they start cutting glass size. It's a business, so what it is. But yeah, back then it was to cast me out.
Right. Well, like any big business that goes on the stock market, right? It just becomes about the bean counting at some point, and the Chips Ahoy cookies started getting smaller, and there's less center in their Oreos, probably a few less French fries. I was talking in my research for Shaken and Stirred, the movie that we're working on, talking to these other Fridays bartenders. They were talking about how Fridays, with all this training, the training was not just the bartenders; it was also the servers and the barbacks and the managers and everybody. Um, how those individuals from Fridays would go out to different bars and restaurants and chains, I guess. And Fridays really gave birth to this huge national account restaurant group that we have now, with all these great bars and restaurants. What are both of your guys' opinions on how Fridays kind of fed that, the great training fed into all of that?
Yeah, I don't know what to say on that. Given the training that we had, yeah, if you left Fridays, you get hired anywhere. Yeah, I'm sure the training that they had were able to expand and help other places. I remember a thing called store blind, which I still try to apply to things of myself these days. For example, say you're going to Fridays, say you're going into the little gate that goes into the bar, and the little gate, it's a little sticky and it squeaks, right? So every day you go and you open the gate and it's sticky and squeak. Well, okay, the gate's sticky and squeaky, so it's just the way it is. No, it's just because you're living there and you've gotten used to it so long, and the gate is sticky and squeaky. It's not right. It should be sticky and squeaky. So it's kind of a thing that you call store blind. You just kind of get used to something that's wrong,
Right.
and you have to listen to yourself and make the change that no, make it right. No squeak, no sticky. So it's a thing called store blind, and I try to still apply that to my house to this day. No, I can't get used to that. It's got to be, you know. So it's just one of those things that always stuck with me.
Very cool. So, the movie Cocktail comes out, and you talk about how you've been have had the opportunity to travel around to 30 different countries because of all of that. Um, why were you traveling to these countries? And I guess the point I'm trying to get to is how bartending enhanced your career and made these wonderful opportunities for you.
Um, what happened was when I got the movie Cocktail, once it started to come out, I got these little interviews on these talk shows like Entertainment Tonight and these local TV shows. And given these interviews on these shows, a lot of liquor companies, juice companies, beer companies got a hold of me. And I spent, like I said, the next 8 years in 30 different countries, flipping bottles and doing seminars, just,
Wow.
showing my stuff. And yeah, for example, did a lot of work for Johnny Walker. Uh, and we'd go into, say, Spain for like 10 days. I'd show up on the Sunday, Saturday, Sunday, and we'd do a seminar and, tell them the whole story and show them, the tricks and what I got going. And I'd say, okay, you guys go back to your bars, and at the end of the week, we'll have a contest, practice these tricks and have a contest. So I'm there for the whole week. So what would happen is we'd find a young man that's local, be a bar back, and I had a little schematic of where my bottles were, what my toothpick was, where my shakers and glasses was, and we go behind the bar, stay starting about 11 o'clock at night, rope off a little section. You'd set me all up, key to music, and I go back there and do like a 9 minute little cocktail flair show. He'd pack it all up, and then we go to the next one about 1 o'clock, the next one about 4 o'clock. Do about 3 to 4 shows a night. Eat at the local Greasy Spoon about 4 or 5 in the morning. Obviously feeling quite well. Sleep all day. Wake up about 7, 8 o'clock at night, and do it all again for the whole week, and then judge the contest at the end of the week. And that went on and on and on for many years. I was quite being like a rock star, if you will. It was a lot of fun, And the places I've been eating, the Belgian waffle in Belgium, and croissant in the Eiffel Tower. Yeah, go figure, right? But yeah, a lot of fun.
Wow. There's a picture of the Johnny Walker poster there, John Bandy Cocktail Show. So you were doing this for years. You traveled around the world doing these just event after event, bar after bar, seminars for years. You said.
Yeah, no, I mean it's unbelievable. One place I really liked was Uruguay. Uruguay and Turkey. They had winter bars and summer bars. So the summer bar you would walk into, a winter bar you'd walk into, it's bar and what have you, very nice. But the summer bar you'd walk into looks like any other bar, whatnot, but it has no ceiling, it has no roof. There's there's no roof to it. It's out and open, but it's like you feel like you're in a building, but no roof. Very bizarre, very cool. Uh, yeah, just something I won't forget.
That's crazy. I've got some pictures here from Cocktail. I'm going to try to move you to the side of the screen here. Some pictures that you sent us. Maybe you could walk us through some of these pictures from the movie Cocktail, if you don't mind. Oh, no, I got
Sure.
that one. There it is. Boom. There's
There
our
you
first
go.
one.
Yeah, yeah. That one actually, I got the guy's autograph. Uh, the photographer is very nice, and I wanted a certain shot. Yeah, we're all behind the bar there, and the shot that I wanted, which is probably going to be coming up, the shot that I wanted us all catching the shaker behind the head, and I was so hungover. The shots here, I was just so hungover that right there. but yeah, that's the one I wanted. I wanted all the shakers in the air, and
Right.
I got that shot. But yeah, I got a lot of personal shots. I got a little bar in the house, and they're all sitting around there. But yeah, that's my favorite there.
So there was a lot of late nights hanging out with the crew and partying with the cast, I'm sure.
Well, there was one incident where it was very nice that we're in Toronto. We had to fly back. We were home for Christmas. We had to fly back for New Year's because there was a shoot. And I go out with hair, makeup, and set design or whatever, and go spend the night. But I was invited by Tom to come have spend New Year's with them, and yeah, we're in a hotel in Toronto. It was very nice. Tom Cruise and Brian Brown was there. Mimi Rogers, Amelia Estevez. I think he's like half brother or something. Some bodyguards. Mimi Rogers and Brian Brown's wife. What was her name? Jeez, it evades me right now. Lovely lady. But anyhow, yeah, we had some pasta and then we went and hobnobbed to a few bars and I had a magnum of. We were drinking magnums of Dom, and I still had my wits about me. Where we finished the first magnum, and I had Tom and Brian signing, and I still have that bottle today. So
That's awesome.
yeah, a little memorabilia, if you will.
That's really cool. Let's see who else we've got here. We've got I don't know who this handsome man is in the center, but man, he's a burly man.
Yeah,
Let me see if I can
right.
get that zoomed out here a little
Yeah.
bit so we can see it better.
Yeah. Yeah, that's hair and makeup. Yeah, hair and makeup. I can't remember what else.
It's all natural hair, though, right?
Wardrobe. Yeah, and there's the bottom right to me anyhow. That's Elizabeth Shue and Brian Brown.
Right.
Of course, that's me in the middle back there.
My first
They
crush.
they kept asking me to be in the movie, get in there somewhere somehow. And for one, I already got my brother in there, and the other one was, I could have been easily a bar page or whatnot, and I just kept saying no. I mean, to me, I didn't care because they were doing my stuff. There was nothing better to me than that. They were doing my stuff. So, but eventually there was a scene in Jamaica, and they kind of ran out of extras, and I had to my act was where Brian Brown's wife, Kelly Lynch, a beautiful looking girl. She was down at the beach and she's kind of attracting attention. And my scene was to walk by her, that she's in her bathing suit, to walk by her and turn around and look at her behind, if you will. So, yeah, it was really hard to do.
Years of practice, though, right? Years of practice.
Really hard. It was a very unnatural scene, But yeah, so I actually did get in the movie, but just because they ran out of extras. So yeah.
So is that in the movie? When we go back to watch it, we'll see you walking on the dock or the beach.
Yeah. Well, let's see me. They'll do a shot. Brian Brown's talking to Cruz at the bar, and he goes, he points to the beach, and that's my girl. And you'll see her walking down the beach, and just at that instance, I walk and turn around and look at her. So yeah. It's literally a tenth of a second, if you will.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice. Pocahontas trying to grab attention, if I remember the exact line or something like that from Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are a few key lines in there. Yeah.
So there's another picture of you with Brian and Tom at the bar, teaching them how to flick a match, I guess.
No, they got. Apparently, they went to some school to do some bartending training. I don't know what happened with that. They got a little diploma or something.
Okay.
But I think that was more about ingredients and just actual, how to pick up a glass and a soda gun or what have you. But yeah, makeup.
Let's see what this one is.
Yeah, it's just kind of one-on-one how to do it. That whole match thing you were talking about was quite wild because I made more money off that matching. Yeah, to answer your question about this picture, yeah, just doing a little one-on-one training.
Right.
The previous.
Yeah.
But the whole match thing, I made more money off that stupid match thing. I would set up when I got to my register. I had a little basket, and that's when people smoked in bars, and they had matchbooks. So I would set up like 10, 20 packs of matches. I'd pull one match out, close the cover, and the match was sticking out and bent. I would see somebody pulling out a cigarette out of the corner of my eye, and just like in the movie, I'd flick that match and send it down the bar, and I'd go about my business, and they're lighting a cigarette. I made more money off that stupid trick. But in Jamaica, when they were going to film that scene, it was so humid, just so incredibly humid, that match would not light. So they had somebody on the side of the set with the basket of matches with a hair dryer, drying those matches off. And just before we shoot, they'd put the match back behind the bar so they could light that match. But yeah, it's just a lot of takes on that.
Movie magic. There's bartenders in Jamaica right now saying, why can't I figure that trick out? I can't do it. Because you're movie magic.
Yeah. But, it's just so silly little things when people are drinking that, it's the wow factor, I guess.
Right.
Tell us how it was bartending in the 80s and the types of drinks and everything then to compare it to now and how bartending is now. What are the biggest differences? What was your priorities then as a bartender, and what do you see bartenders making priority now that maybe they should or shouldn't be?
Yeah, back then it was, I think the ingredients were, not like we have today. One brand of vodka will have, 20 different flavors, lime, lemon, grapefruit, what have you. Back then it was still, Sigma 7, CC, VO, it's fairly still standard. I think the biggest difference I see is they're more like chefs, if you will. You get the extracted root from that, and another extracted root from that, and they're turning out beautiful cocktails, and tasting good. But where the word mixology really comes into play, and where these guys are, they're taking to another level where you're like a gourmet chef with cocktails. So that's one of the biggest differences I see.
Yeah, true. It seems like back then, at least for me, I started bartending in '95, if I remember right. And at the time, like at the end of the '90s, like it was all about Long Island iced teas, margaritas, Lynchburg lemonades, things like that, and that's all we knew. And that's what it was: vodka, cranberry, Scuba Libre, stuff like that. And it took me going to bring this full circle with to like a flair bartending competition in Las Vegas to a mixology bar they had in one of the hotels called iBar and ordering a cucumber mojito. And I was just, my mind was blown. I'm like, this is amazing. I would never have thought to put cucumbers in a cocktail. And that was, at that time was probably like 2001. And what they're doing now is even crazier. And I think the advent of the internet and it's changing all those ideas made everything so much quicker, opposed to back then. I had to buy books and learn how to do recipes and drive to the bookstore and hopefully that copy was there and then read the book, where now everything's instantaneous. And on top of that, not only text, now there's video and stuff like this, just to bring all those ideas and conversations together that much quickly. And I think that helped a lot to your point.
Yeah, I mean back then, the only thing that had a cucumber, I think it was a Pim's cup, I think maybe Pim's cup, and there's 12 ingredients with egg whites and shit. Yeah, but yeah, whole different level now.
And the same with cocktail competitions. Like back then, like you said, your first prize was a TV, a VCR, a trip to Cancun, I think it was, and to Europe or somewhere else. Like that was awesome. But in the height of flair bartending, like the biggest prize I can remember, Dean, maybe you can say something different. I want to say it was a competition in Russia. Yeah. And I want to say maybe Christian or Rodrigo Delpeche won, but they were giving away prize money, $100,000. Yeah. It was crazy in the mid '80s. All up until
there was two competitions that were competing against each other. I think one was in the Ukraine and one was in Russia, but I could be corrected on that for sure. But either way, one of them was $50,000, and the other was $50,001. and these bartenders were given $10,000 cash as the prize. And we've got some great stories of these guys trying to get through TSA and through customs with $10,000 cash. That story will hopefully come up in the documentary. But huge money.
Yeah, Delpech and his brother, right? They
Yeah.
did well.
Yeah,
they dominated in that time with Nicholas St. John and Tom Dyer and all over the Japan guys. And the cool thing was everyone had their own style. American had this, like, in my opinion, American had this go big or go home. So we were like multiple objects. The more objects in there, the better it was. Japan was very precise and choreographed to the music. The Latin guys just danced on stage and had smoothness. Right. You know, everyone had a little something. And it was cool at these global competitions that Ken Hall and Jim Allison ran a lot of them for High Spirits and Legends of Bartending Quest. To see all these people come and just the different styles was just mind-blowing. And it was really, really, truly a great thing to see.
And I have to say something, too. It's like way back in the day, and his name fails me, but when I met you guys in Vegas for the first time,
right?
Who was the fellow?
Ken Hall was running the event.
Yeah, Ken Hall and Jim Allison.
Yeah.
You guys were so very kind. It was like, I was like grandfather coming in, and you guys just rolled out the red carpet for me. I mean, the respect that I got from you guys was just unbeknownst. I was just unbelievable. But it was so exciting to see, you guys taking it further and running with it. I really felt very good about what you guys were doing and the respect that I had got from you. It's very heartwarming. Very heartwarming.
You set the stage for so many of us. Even reading in the comments and seeing online how many people that are still just happy that we're going to be broadcasting this and being able to see you again and just for all the impact that your work had on the entire world of flair bartending or bartending in general. It's been amazing.
Very cool.
Yeah,
very cool.
You open our eyes. You were the first to call flair bartending because of your work in the movie Cocktail. And that's one thing, like Dean and I, we couldn't say this till we're blue in the face, is this is one of the few industries that will jump on stage and compete against each other for great prize money and sometimes visas on the line and much more bragging rights and maybe the girl behind the bar that you're trying to hook up with. But at the same time, we'll be the first to jump back there and bar back for you and help you put on the best show that you possibly can.
Right.
Yeah. The camaraderie is awesome.
Yeah. And Rob, you just pointed out as well the impact on personal lives. I personally have paid my mortgage and raised my kids on flipping bottles because of your work, John. Thank you very much.
Me too.
Yeah, but there's so many people that have gotten visas into the United States because of their work with Flair, myself included. But so many great Flair bartenders, and they've traveled around making 6 figures a year just doing bartending competitions. That's back in the day, and hopefully in the future again. It's just been such a very small niche market, but very impactful for many. So.
Yeah, but they have to work very hard to get to the level where they have to work very. That's a lot of practice, man. Yeah, that's a lot of.
Well, thank you for acknowledging that. Yeah, that's important to know.
So John, when you were in the height of bartending you started doing other stuff. When did you feel like it was, and how did you know it was time to get out of bartending? And I'm assuming you're not bartending now because we've had these conversations. But like, how did you know it was time to get out of bartending, and how did you make that transition from doing what you did to what you're doing now?
Yeah, maybe a twofold thing. I was working at a club where the clientele was a little bit older. It was called Bogies, right over here in Westlake Village, and they're a little bit older, and I was, obviously younger than the clientele. And at one point, as years went by, I think I was there for, 12 years or so. Years went by. The client, I started looking like the clientele, and the clientele started looking like. And so it's like, and then the flipping of the bottles, because I know there's always something new out there. It's I have a saying, like the cereal tricks are for kids. I got to the point, it's like when people come by my house, I'll just make a vat of sangria. Go help yourself. I'm not going to do that. I mean, I'm over it. So it just came to the point where it just ran its course. It was very good to me. I really enjoyed it, but it just kind of ran its course, and it was just time. I got 4 kids. It was just time to move on to something else. And so I retired from bartending in '06, and which seems eons now. But yeah, but it was very good to me.
Still
and
a
I
great
still,
long career, though.
Yeah, well, all in all, 25 years at bartending.
Right. 25 years behind bars.
Yeah, man.
So I guess I can talk to both of you guys about this as well. As we move into our next generation of bartenders, we went through a decade of high quality cocktails, and perhaps I don't want to even talk about the service part, but we had a couple of decades of this whole flair thing from '88 on. Then a decade from 2010 of just these high quality cocktails and bartenders becoming very, very serious about the business of making drinks. Where do you see the 2002 and beyond taking the craft of bartending?
I'll answer that first. I have no clue. not a clue. I would imagine the craft, and like I said, the gourmet cocktail
Right.
is definitely going to be on. I could see that happening, but always the visual thing is just so much fun. It's so much fun. It's that unexpected thing when you're sitting in a bar. So that I don't think that will ever go away. I mean, everybody has time and to see something, that's out of the ordinary. So, yeah, I mean, I would continue. I mean, if I'm not so damn old, but but it's always that unexpected, fun little thing. I think is really cool. Rob, how about you?
Yeah, Rob.
I think we've proven that the entertainment value is great, and we've proven now that bartenders are more than just monkeys behind the bar. We can actually, like you said, create cocktails and be chefs behind the bar and create great cocktails. And I think the next step is we've already been bridging that through competitions with the USBG and the IBA for years now. It's not like Flair's making a comeback. It's not like mixologist versus Flair bartending. That's in the past. That's already 10 years old. We've done that. We're past that. We've all evolved. I think the next step is getting back to, which is the number one basic, is now that we've got the tools and the knowledge and we know what we're doing behind the bar, let's focus on the guest and get great service again. Right. And I think you're going to see a lot of things to enhance the guest experience, from QR codes, from not just pulling up a menu, but pulling up a whole experience, from playlists to download this cocktail video to learn how to make the cocktail that you're drinking right now, to a whole lot of things that I'm hearing in the industry where it's going back to service again. And that I love hearing.
Yeah, I often like to play with the word engagement, because it actually started with Flair, where the guys behind the bar that were flipping bottles disengaged from the bar, from the guests at the bar, because they were like, "Hey, watch me do this," and it wasn't about the guests anymore. Back in John's day, it was all about engagement. That ice or that match down the bar, or the napkins. It was all up close and personal and engagement. Flair get back here. Mixologists got to hear, right? Because they were like so inside what they were working on, you couldn't see it. So hopefully, like you said, Rob, we'll get back to this engagement, and the guest gets to become part of it again.
Yep. Right. Look up and bring them in your world.
Right. Look up. Right. Smile.
Yeah, very good. Well put.
Yeah,
I like all of it.
Cool. Well, hey, I got a comment here from Bruce Tomlinson, who's saying, thank you. I did 32 years behind the stick. Bruce is out there in the internet land watching us. Thank you, Bruce.
You know he's old when he says stick.
Yeah. 32 years behind bars. I'd have got out on good behavior had there been any.
And then, Dean, you got some good news to share. Should we bring that up now?
Yeah. Let's wrap this up with a very special announcement. But before I do that, Mr. Bandy, I would love to have you back again on another episode to chat more about bartending. And I mean, I can't imagine how many years we've got 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years worth of bartending, probably 80 years worth of bartending together. Just to chit chat about the interaction and all that stuff. I'd love to have you back on the show. So that's my bottom line.
And more importantly, the documentary as well.
Yes. Yeah. We would love to have you be part of the documentary as a talking head, sharing some of your points. But that'll be a conversation for another day, of course, as we get closer to shooting that. So,
be happy to. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think we can make a documentary without having a documentary about Flair without having John Bandy in it.
Yeah, there's some key figures, and you're one of them, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you. You humble me. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, John, we have been waiting for this day to share this information. I procured this back in February, and Rob and I have been waiting for the very special day to share this. Let me see if I can share this on the screen. All right, on June 10th. Oh, look at that. We're all on the screen together and sharing this. June 10th will be National Flair Bartenders Day. What do you think of that?
Nice.
So we actually have a national day on the calendar there. We're working on a better logo, but that's the best I could do.
I like the bottle and red, white, and blue. I love it. Nice.
Yeah, it's the Flairco bottle, of course. National Flair Bartenders Day. Check it out at the nationaldayarchives.com. June 10th, each calendar year, so it's the same day. I'll read this first paragraph, but I won't bore you with my reading for the rest of it. What is National Flair Bartenders Day? This National Day will be dedicated to bartenders that entertain from behind the bar. Bottle flipping, shaker spinning, glass tossing bartenders that draw guests to the bar with their celerity of motion and bottle conjuring skills. Bartenders that go above and beyond in their daily training to not only make great drinks, but to entertain guests at the same time. So there it is. We couldn't think of a better person to share this with than John Bandy himself, the godfather of our craft.
I like it.
Dean spearheading this, and that date, June 10th, is also important for another reason, Dean, which shows up on my calendar every year. Why is that?
Yeah, I get a call from Rob every day or every year on June 10th. June 10th was the day that the Flair bottle was born.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's the very first Flair bottle.
There you go. Very good.
Yeah.
And so that was the reason why we're holding the competition in June, on June 6th, literally days before National Flair Bartenders Day.
Right. So we'll have to do a call out to you, John, on National Flair Bartenders Day, a day dedicated to you and Tom Cruise and Brian Brown and everybody else that is entertained from that.
Wow. Okay. Well, just let me know. Give me a little heads up. We'll figure it out. Absolutely.
Good stuff. Hey, John. Any last words out to your adoring fans in the world of the internet?
Oh, geez. I'm just so impressed that you guys are, doing it, and the younger coming bartenders are, still enthusiastic about what they're doing. There's so many moves that are yet to be brought out, and thought of. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see, what you guys are going to show me next, and what come up with. I love it. I love it. So thank you very much, guys. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you, John. You've been an absolute pleasure to work with the last few days getting ready for this. And, of course, this interview was awesome. So thank you so much. Thanks for everything you've done.
You had some people reach out to us directly, like, how did you get a hold of John Bandy? He's a ghost on the internet. How do I get a hold of him? I want him to judge this. I want to do this. So just be prepared. We're going to forward this, your information, if we have your permission, to these people that are asking to help just tell your story and bring flair to that next level.
Right on. Be happy to do it. Absolutely.
Maybe we can get you another decade of flying around the world talking about flair.
Right on. Right on.
Good stuff. All right. Thank you very much, John. We're going to sign off. Rob and I will just say a few words after all that. Thank you again, and we'll catch up to you a little bit later. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, guys. I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Awesome. What an absolute thrill. Cheers. I didn't get the cheers, John. There's my empty turquoise blue. Yeah, what an absolute thrill, eh, Rob?
That was I got to say, by far, this is our third interview so far for One Drink With together, and that's in my top three. I'm just kidding. That's one of my. It was really impressive. John's a stand-up guy, and like you said, just what he brought to this industry and what have we've all personally gained from it, and the bonds and the friendships because of it is just amazing. And it's great to see how humble he is and still just passionate to be able to share and just be involved again. And it's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've certainly set a new bar for our guests on Cocktail Network Live, One Drink With. Rob, we got to sign out. Happy Easter to you, and happy Easter to John as well, and everybody else out there on the internet land. Thanks for watching us. Go shake up a cocktail for us, all right? All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you all later.